Evolving Skies continues to defy all logic and reason with the incredible price of its booster boxes and its main hit chase card, the Umbreon Alternate Art VMAX. Why is Evolving Skies so popular and so expensive when previous cards that are arguably even rarer and maybe just as attractive are much cheaper? And were the hits from Evolving Skies actually manipulated or not? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. You're watching the channel Dr. Applesauce 2. My name's Will. It's another beautiful day here in Texas. I hope you guys know that I love you, God loves you, and that there is an awesome plan for your life. With all of the talk last week about all of the stolen Fusion Strike cards that popped up and all of the craziness that surrounded that, because Fusion Strike was notorious for having really hard hit rates, everybody started talking about Evolving Skies as well. Well, Evolving Skies has really difficult hit rates. Evolving Skies is really hard to actually pull anything good. Maybe Evolving Skies was also had cards stolen and things of that nature, or potentially only the first run of Evolving Skies prints actually had good hits in them. Everything else was a low hit rate. And to be honest with you guys, that last accusation is something that has no basis. There's no reason out there or anything to prove that card sets have different hit rates from one release to the next. It's all speculation. There is zero actual quantifiable data out there to say the first print of something is loaded with more hits and then everything else is loaded with less hits. It's just speculative based on however many booster boxes somebody may or may not open. So today let's talk about the insanity that is Evolving Skies. Let's take a quick look real quick and I want to look at some pricing of things, okay? This pricing for Evolving Skies has been pretty consistent and it doesn't look like it's going to change, and Evolving Skies has been out for so long now, and Pokemon being in full-fledged Scarlet and Violet mode, in my opinion, the reliability or even the possibility of another Evolving Skies booster box reprint is next to none. I highly doubt that there will ever be another reprint of Evolving Skies booster boxes. Is it possible? Yeah, it's totally possible. It just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So if we go and we look at Evolving Skies booster box values, it is pretty much plateaued and stayed the same, consistently right under $400 for a good while now. Just a nice flat line. It's just kind of staying there. And like, this isn't just, you know, prices that people are asking. People are actually buying Evolving Skies booster boxes at these prices, and there are situations when people open Evolving Skies booster boxes and only get like 5 or 6 hits, which is just brutal if you paid $300-400 for a booster box and didn't really get anything good out of it. So the price of this booster box isn't really changing, and it's kind of staying the same, and it's a crazy anomaly at how expensive everything is in this specific set, or this set in and of itself. And if we go look at the main chase card, there are several nice cards in this set, but if we just look at the main chase card, probably the most anticipated and arguably the most expensive Sword and Shield card that you could pull from a standard set, it's going to be obviously the Umbreon Alternate Art VMAX. This card has a pretty consistent value lately of about $600 to $650, and people are buying the card at this price. People are buying the card at this price. We saw a huge spike, as is normal, and then it went down a little bit, and then it's just been consistently going up and up and up and up over time. And I find this to be really interesting, specifically in the case of Evolving Skies, because there's lots of speculation if there's going to be another reprint, so on and so forth. I highly doubt there will be another booster box reprint. Now, people will counter that and argue with that. Well, I walked into my Walmart the other day and there was tons of Evolving Skies Elite Trainer boxes. We are seeing that happen. We are seeing Evolving Skies Elite Trainer boxes pop up here and there, but that doesn't mean that booster boxes are getting reprinted. So be on the lookout. You might see some Evolving Skies Elite Trainer boxes pop up, and you should buy them if you want to crack some packs. I've happened upon one before, and I found one and opened it, and I didn't get anything, but it was a lot of fun. So that aspect is definitely happening, where we are seeing Evolving Skies pop up, you know, at some Walmarts and at some Targets and things like that. But the speculation, if there's going to be a booster box reprint, I highly doubt it with how old this set is, and that we're in moved into a new generation. Pokemon's focusing on Scarlet and Violet. So why are these cards so expensive? Why is Evolving Skies so expensive when there's no data to support that it was printed any more or less than any of the Sword and Shield sets. Like, that's something that's really, really interesting. A really interesting video that my friend Goatbreakers did, you should go watch his video after this one. His video is only 5 minutes, is he basically broke down a little bit of numbers and a little bit of theory and some very basic math that's not anything concrete. It's just some basic math based on public information that more or less shows that Umbreon VMAX is just as rare-ish, you know, approximately, as any of the other alternate art pulls from any of the other Sword and Shield sets. So why is it so much more expensive? I think the next most expensive alternate art is like maybe the Giratina V. I think the Giratina V at like 370, 350-ish from Lost Origins. And then potentially, what is it, maybe Charizard V or the Lugia V alternate arts. Those might be coming up in like the 3rd and 4th spots. I didn't research that. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. But why is Umbreon VMAX alternate art so much more expensive when, you know, theoretically there are as many copies in production and, you know, being rotated around the community and the marketplace as any other Sword and Shield alternate art? It's very interesting to know that. Why is it so much more expensive? And then another thing that's really interesting is if you look at some basic public data, like my friend Goatbreakers put in his video, again, I'll link it in the description. You should go watch it after this video. There are cards from the Sun and Moon era that are arguably much, much rarer than the Umbreon alternate art, that are much, much harder to get than the Umbreon alternate art, and are much cheaper. Cards with a much lower population, because Sun and Moon was printed in nowhere near as frequently and in nowhere near the amounts as Sword and Shield sets were printed. So the main hit cards from some of those sets obviously have a lot smaller population in existence, worth way less than this card. Why is that? Why is that the case? Real quick, guys, I want you to know, if you're looking for stores that you can trust to order your Pokemon cards, look no further. If you want to order some Japanese Pokemon cards or some Korean Pokemon cards, you got to check out PokeAny.com. They're from Omaha, Nebraska. They will take great care of you. They have tons of Japanese in stock, and if you want to save some money, they have tons of Korean cards in stock. And if you go buy from PokeAny.com and use code Applesauce, you get a free booster pack with your order. And if you want somewhere to order English Pokemon cards, got to check out InvasionToys.com. Great store in California. They host tournaments. They're a fantastic company. If you go to InvasionToys.com, you can order yourself some English Pokemon cards and use code Applesauce to save yourself 10% on your order. Both of those stores are great stores to put in your back pocket and use my discount codes, because it'll help you and it'll help me. I think the thing that's the most interesting about all of this is people are, you know, curious, well, were the hits affected? Oh, that's why Umbreon alternate art is so expensive or so hard to get, because people, you know, probably stole a bunch of them, right? And there's nothing to prove that that's true. And at the end of the day, here's the crazy thing at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, honestly, I think it's just all about preference. Maybe the Umbreon is just more popular. It came out at a time that people wanted this card more. There was more people that wanted this card, and it just spiked the value. The reality is we don't really have an answer as to why Evolving Skies is going as crazy as it is. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool cards in it. Yeah, you can pull a lot of really great alternate arts. In my opinion, it was the first set that had alternate arts in it that were super coveted, of really desirable characters, or desirable Pokemon. Not the first set with alternate arts, but the first set with alternate arts from Sword and Shield that had really desirable alternate art Pokemon, being all of the evolutions that you could pull alternate art forms from. I think that attributes to the popularity and the price of Evolving Skies, but that falls under to it just being preference. And I think the most important thing about all of this is, like, you should buy a card if you want the card. Don't buy a card based on hype. Don't buy into sets or expensive cards just because, oh my god, it seems like this is what everybody's buying. This is the new hotness. This is the new expensive card. And then you spent $700 on a card, and now you regret it because you're like, wow, I just spent $700 on a card, and it's not even my favorite Pokemon. Or you know, I could have bought, you know, 3 cards of my favorite Pokemon, or done this or that or the other. And I think you got to remember what it is that gets you excited with your collecting. If you're a huge Umbreon fan, then okay, that makes sense. If you're a huge Evolutions fan, then that makes sense why Evolving Skies could be something that you really want to, you know, potentially spend $400 on a booster box so you can rip a booster box and have that experience. But I think at the end of the day, you've got to be true to yourself as a collector and remember why you collect and what you're collecting, and not just fall into the FOMO and the hype of what everybody else is doing. And that was a point that my friend Goatbreakers made in his video that was really, really good. Again, I'll put a link in the description below so you guys can go watch his video. He's a much better videographer and editor than I am. But all of this craziness surrounding Evolving Skies, it does continue to defy logic of why it's so expensive. Why there's a modern card that's worth 3-4 times as much as some vintage cards out there. You could go pick up a base set Charizard for the price of the Umbreon. Depending on the condition of the Charizard, you could pick up multiple base set Charizards. You could pick up a PSA 8 or a PSA 9 base set Charizard for that matter. Various other vintage cards for the price of this one modern card. And granted, the art is different. It does look more like a work of art and a piece of art rather as opposed to, you know, some of the vintage looks. Not to say anything bad about vintage Pokemon cards, there's just a difference there, right? But I think at the end of the day, you got to be true to yourself and true to who you are as a collector, and avoid the hype and the FOMO and all the craziness about what everybody else is going after. And make sure, I want to remind you guys, make sure to hang out with me on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central. Every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central, I go live on YouTube. We open packs. We give it all away to everybody. We have a blast. So make sure to tune in every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central for YouTube live streams, giving away packs, hanging out with you guys. I love hanging out with you guys as the community. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about all of this and Evolving Skies and your opinions on all of this craziness. I know it's all exciting, and I'd love to know what you think. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. It really lets me know, you know, what type of content y'all like. And while this is all exciting, this is really exciting too. As a Pokemon collector, I know you'll love it. And like I always say, find somebody to love and serve today and be the change you want to see in the world. See you next time.